Hey guys, welcome back with the QB Docs. Today I'm joined here with Dusty, and we're going to talk about a topic that is very common throughout the football world, I should say, with all football players, not just quarterbacks, but the topic is hamstring strains, all right? And I know a lot of our teammates, whenever we were in college and high school, dealt with hamstring strains. We were lucky enough not to ever have to do that, but this is a topic that needs to be talked about in relation to the whole system, not just the hamstring specifically. So let me define what that system actually is first. So I'm actually going to have Dusty face the wall here, all right? And we all know that we have a pelvis here, all right, a knee here, and we have musculature, the hamstrings are on the back of the knee, all right? And really the musculature on the front are our hip flexors that are on the front, okay? So this acts as a whole system that if one thing is altered, it changes the whole system. So we know that football players have a tendency to, be in this anterior pelvic tilt or stand overextended a lot. And this is due to a lot of reasons, whether it's upregulation of the nervous system, tight hip flexors, training in these positions. These are all could be reasons for this overextension syndrome. But once somebody starts training through this, okay, they start putting tension through this hamstring because the hamstring inserts into the pelvis. So as the pelvis turns up, that lengthens that tension in the hamstring. So if I'm going to run and I'm running overextended in this overextended position, now I go to plank and try to cut. That's how people tend to strain their hamstrings. It's not whenever they push off, but actually whenever they decelerate or whenever they land and take off and sprint. All right, so for this purpose, instead of going after the hamstring, instead of stretching your hamstrings, most likely you're a person that already has very loose hamstrings to begin with. You can probably palm the floor pretty easily, or you're probably a pretty flexible person. So instead of going after the hamstring, let's go after the hip flexor. And the reason why is if I can create more laxity in the hip flexor, it brings this pelvis back to neutral in its posterior pelvic tilt, which takes the hamstring length off, which will actually help restore the range of motion of that hamstring and restore the kinematics here, the properties here, which allow this trunk to be stable. All right, because if I'm overextended in this overextended position, so anterior pelvic tilt, that's an unstable position. And we talk about that all the time in relation to quarterbacks, but if I'm running, jumping, landing, cutting, unstable, now I rely on this hamstring for stability that's already over-lengthened. That's the mechanism for hamstring pull. So instead of going after the hamstring, stretching it, doing whatever with it, stretch the hip flexor, the psoas, stabilize the trunk, and work on breathing mechanics, and that'll clear up your issues. Okay? If you like that video, please check out our other videos, the QB Docs, on our Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, or our website, theqbdocs.com.